This is how Germans celebrate Christmas, because instead of having a happy and fun time, they have people dressed as demons roaming the streets with whips, chasing and lightly hitting anyone they see. This is a Christmas tradition called Krampus, where Santa Claus walks around with terrifying creatures who punish anyone who's been naughty, and locals believe this scares away evil spirits, bringing good luck and a happy Christmas season. But would you go to this festival?
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, so guys, it's festive season right now, and a lot of people are happy about the holidays. Right, so in today's episode, we're going to be looking at several traditions that are practiced in different countries about Christmas, and we're gonna try and understand some symbols that are being used by people when celebrating Christmas and where these traditions came from. Yeah, the only problem is with every tradition, it symbolizes something and it came from somewhere, right? But people are practicing things without even knowing the meaning of them. And with everything that is gonna be discussed here today, I just want to ask you, our audience, did you know the meaning behind every symbol during Christmas? The Christmas tree, the socks that people hang in the chimneys. If not, you get the opportunity to learn from this episode. But if you did, kindly let us know more about this on the comment section. But for now, let's watch and then we come back and talk about it. Remember to subscribe if you haven't. Right, let's watch.
What's one Christmas tradition you do every year?
Honestly, just eat chocolate, sleep, drink, and watch TV.
We started making pierogies.
My family swims in the pool and plays backyard cricket with like a wheelie bin.
Usually Japanese people work during the day because Christmas is not a holiday in Japan.
Play this game called the potato game. You wrap potatoes in tinfoil and you have to tie one string of the potato around your waist and you have to hip thrust with the person next to you, try and swing the potato on the string to hit the other potato.
We have a huge light show on our Birmingham race course, and so I go every year.
It's got to be prawns on the barbie.
One of the traditional dishes that we eat for it is like meat and vegetables in jelly. It's really disgusting. I don't eat that, but my parents love it.
I will bake many cookies or muffins, and I will give them to my families or friends.
Maybe like going to the beach.
Nice Christmas dinner, turkey dinner, red sauce. Yeah, just
crazy origins of Christmas traditions you never knew. The last one will blow your mind. Number 1. Hanging stockings by the fireplace comes from a legend about St. Nicholas secretly dropping gold coins down a poor man's chimney. The coins landed in stockings that were drying by the fire, saving the man's daughters from being sold into servitude. The tradition of stockings has nothing to do with Santa being generous. It's based on a story about preventing girls from being trafficked because their father couldn't afford dowries. What seems like an innocent tradition has surprisingly dark origins tied to desperate poverty. Number 2. The Christmas tree tradition started in 16th century Germany when people believed spirits lived in evergreen trees. They'd bring trees inside during winter to provide shelter for good spirits and ward off evil ones. It wasn't about decoration or Jesus. It was pagan superstition about housing supernatural beings in your home. Christians later adopted it and claimed it represented eternal life, but the original reason was literally inviting tree spirits into your house for protection during dark winter months. Before I say the last one, make sure you hit that follow button to support the channel. Number 3. Mistletoe kissing traditions come from Norse mythology, where the plant symbolized love and peace after the god Balder was killed by a mistletoe arrow. His mother declared it a symbol of love instead of death. But mistletoe is actually a parasitic plant that slowly kills its host tree, making it a weird choice for romance. We're kissing under a plant associated with death and parasitism, rebranded as romantic tradition through mythology.
I think it's wild how most Christians put up a Christmas tree every year and never ask why. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Proverbs 16 verses 4. The Christmas tree did not come from scripture. It came from winter pagan ritual. People would bring evergreens inside of their house, decorate them for spiritual protection. That is a ritual. Jeremiah 10 describes cutting down a tree, decorating it with silver and gold, and treating it like an idol. No, that doesn't make trees evil. Look how easily humans can take something and turn it into an object of worship. It's just that easy. That easy to be a part of a ritual that you didn't realize that you were being a part of. This was one of the holidays Rome merged with Christianity. that was a pagan holiday. Our God sits at the center of a holiday that he never commanded, a holiday that was never for him and honestly is still not. Using symbols he never asked for, rituals that he already condemned as Satan, and we're still calling it his. Stop. Stop misaligning yourself with God to align yourself with culture. Conviction over comfort. Follow me if you're into that. Shalom.
From an outsider perspective, I think people might think we're crazy. In honor of the Christmas spirit, I thought I'd mention 3 really strange Swedish Christmas traditions that people who are not Swedish might find really, really strange. First one, which I think is such a funny one, is the fact that a family member dresses up as Santa Claus. We don't get Santa Claus arriving in the middle of the night and handing you your presents and him eating your cookies. We celebrate Christmas on the 24th, and on the Christmas Eve, Santa Claus knocks on your door, and that is usually a family member. For us, it was Dad going out in the middle of the night to buy the newspaper, and then Santa Claus would arrive while he was away. It's usually a family member dressing up as Santa Claus, visiting the children, and then kind of handing out presents, and the children get to meet him, which doesn't really make sense because how does he have time for all of that? Nobody knows. The second one is that we dance around the Christmas tree. So we sing very traditional songs, like children's songs, and then we kind of dance around the tree if one of those songs comes on. And it's just like kind of tradition. Everybody knows the dances, and yeah, I don't do it as much anymore, but as a kid, you would kind of do it a lot more. The third and last one is our food. Our food is insane. So we eat the most strange food, and we eat it all together, which doesn't really make sense taste-wise, but for some reason it does. We eat pickled herring, we eat salmon, we eat meatballs, we eat like a potato gratin with anchovies in it, which don't even get me started on that. And it's all mixed between hot and cold food, basically a mix of everything, and it doesn't really make sense food-wise. I've had Thanksgiving food here in Canada, and that makes so much more sense. It's so much better than our food, I would say, but I guess it's what I grew up on, so I do like some parts of it, but yeah, those are some strange Swedish traditions that I don't think a lot of people know of. And if you have any strange Canadian traditions, I would love to know them because I just find it so funny how we all like celebrate the same thing, but we do it very, very differently. So yeah, happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Bye.
Well, happy Christmas, everyone. 26 years old now. Christmas for me is like it's a day of rest, but that didn't used to be the case because when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, I had a strict Christmas tradition. And that tradition was going through my Facebook friends list, finding every single lady within my age range, and then messaging them all saying Happy Christmas. And that seems like an innocent, oh, Happy Christmas, but it wasn't. It was me saying Happy Christmas, hoping to open a conversation, and they'd then give me a Christmas present, which was a date with them. I messaged so many women over the years, and I guess my theory was if I say Happy Christmas to them and they don't reply, they're not rejecting me, they're rejecting Christmas. This girl, 18th of January 2014, I said, hey, didn't work, so 2 years later I popped back up on Christmas Day saying Happy Christmas. She didn't reply, not good. And this is a weird one, because this girl messaged me on the 27th of August 2013 just saying hello. I didn't reply for some reason. I then messaged her on the 25th of December 2016. 2016 was a busy year saying Happy Christmas. She then replied in capitals, and I didn't reply to her. That's so sad, man. Usually I had no success with this, they just wouldn't reply, but there's this message I found that was really weird. I messaged her on Christmas 2016 just saying Happy Christmas. She then said, and you. I didn't reply for some reason. That was it. I guess I'd messaged loads of girls and the volume was too much. But then she messaged me on the 23rd of May 2017, the next year, saying and then she said her name. And then I was like, all right, don't know why you said me that. And then she then said her mate really likes me, which is good. And she then said she'll come to yours tomorrow, meaning her mate. I then said she doesn't know me. I was extremely desperate. I don't know why I said that. She then sent this weird emoji. I then sent a question mark and no Snapchat. What are you two doing? Is in her and her mate. And she then just said threesome at mine, and she was obviously joking and mugging me off of her mate, but 16-year-old Dom didn't understand that social cue. He took it literally, and he then said, really? When? And she then said, me, you, and my boyfriend, once again, absolutely mugging me off. I then said, no, absolutely not, to the boyfriend. I said, why not, your mate? She then said, me, her mate, and her boyfriend, and I can record, which actually, on reflection, sounds like a pretty good deal. I said she, no reply, not sure why I'm speaking in broken English, and then said, nah, no boyfriend. She then said she's driving. I said, where are you going? Still thinking this actually going to happen. She then said back to hers. I then said to do what, which is a stupid question. They're obviously going to say to have a threesome with me, her, and my boyfriend. I then said, can't tell if you guys are joking or not. Still don't understand how I'm not understanding this social cue. She then said, it's not me you should be talking to, it's her mate, good night. But 16-year-old Dom didn't give up, he still persisted, because he then said, tell her to reply, when will she? She then said she will once she's finished driving, she definitely won't. I then said, alright, I'll see you soon with her. I was really tempted to message her back today saying, how about that threesome question mark, just as a joke, but I saw she's got like a full family now, and I thought she doesn't need that in her life, so that's my old Christmas tradition.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. I feel like recently I've been learning a lot of things that I didn't think I would this soon. I didn't know all these things that I've watched in this video, and quite frankly, I don't even know if it's true, right? But a lot of people are really talking about whatever we've had today in the video. But I would like to ask your audience, did you know anything about anything that has been spoken about in today's episode? Because I find it quite weird that a lot of people are celebrating these holidays. Even I've heard some things about Thanksgiving as well. I heard about how it came about, and it wasn't really pretty, but how people celebrate these holidays is as if to mark something beautiful in history that happened. And I normally say somebody's tradition, you don't know what made them to start practicing that, and it becomes somebody's culture. How do you then adopt that to become part and parcel of what you practice, right? And sometimes I usually wonder to myself, Christianity as a religion, how many idols are Christians worshipping in the name of worshipping Jesus? Because guys, let me just ask you a question. This might be a bit controversial, but do you believe that the cross, the crucifix that is usually in the Catholic churches, do you believe it truly represents how Jesus died, or do you believe it is an idol representation of how Jesus died? As you answer that in the comment section. I was today years old when I found out the meaning about the Christmas tree and the symbols that are usually hung on the Christmas tree, right? But about Christmas, I wasn't today years old when I found out, but I was this years old when I found out the true meaning of Christmas, because I once had a podcaster, a Kenyan podcaster, who was her name is Lynn Ngugi. If for those who want to look out for her channel, right? She was talking about Christmas, and she said something that made me think. She was asking, how many people actually know when, where, and what day Jesus was born? Because she actually even went in the Bible and said, and even scholars concurred with her point, that nobody actually knows when Jesus was born, just the symbols of the day that Jesus was born, and all of them doesn't seem to indicate that he was born during winter, yet Christmas is celebrated during winter in America. And guys, another thing also I was wondering, when exactly did Christmas and the practice of Christmas become incorporated with Christianity as a religion, right? Because I can say that a lot of Christians do practice this. Even, okay, let me just speak for Kenya, because we live in Kenya. When you go to Kenyan churches, especially during this time, you will find a makeshift manger where Jesus was born. These Christmas decorations that people like doing, it's done even in churches, right? And right now I usually do find myself at loggerheads when it comes to the Christmas seasons, because I really debate with myself on whether to celebrate it or not, because growing up we grew up in the system where we celebrated Christmas. We knew what Christmas was, but we didn't know the history of it, right? And right now, after growing up, you start hearing that Christmas is a holiday for pagans, so you are at a crossroads in that you're at a point everything where you kind of is turned upside down, and you don't even know whether to pass this practice to your future kids or not, because right now it's not even clear where this practice originated from. All that you know is that white people, it was a holiday that white people invented. And guys, have you heard about the meaning about, somebody was talking about capturing an evil spirit? Oh Lord, I've heard a lot of things today, and it's making me think and really wonder, because it really makes sense that even right now, there are things that we are doing that generations to come will be practicing, and they will believe that it's really a true practice. Only that it originated from
where it originated from.
and as a result of what, And right now, Christmas, to be honest, has become very, very popular, that if it was an invention by a particular system, those people who created and are still in charge of that system must be looking and watching and saying, this is the smart. Because during this time, people really, get in those moods to celebrate, because they really truly believe they're celebrating. Like in the Christian, what I find fascinating is the fact that Japan, they don't have Christmas Day and they don't celebrate it at all. I would really like to know, people from Japan are from what religion do they practice?
Number one, and number
Let
two.
me Google real quick.
Right, I would really like to know what Japan thinks of this day, and just the general idea about Christmas, what they think of this holiday, since it doesn't exist in their community, And let's talk also about Germany, where their Santa walks with demons that beat people on the street. Like, when people say that Santa is just a reversed word of saying Satan, I really am starting to believe all these things, because all these are theories out here, but when you see practices like the one that Germany is practicing, what are the chances, guys? Do we really, really, truly know what we are celebrating?
So I've asked Google what religion Japan practices, and this is the answer. Japan predominantly practices a syncretic blend of Shinto and Buddhism. I've never heard Shinto. I don't know what that is, but I've heard some things or seen some things in
Buddhism.
movies.
Okay, according to me, I might be wrong, but Buddhism to me also is like another form of idol worship.
I don't know, but I'm just reading what Japan practices here. With most citizens participating in rituals from both faiths, Shinto is the indigenous, nature-focused belief system, while Buddhism was introduced later. Both coexist, often with 1.5% practicing Christianity and 1.5% other faiths. So the other religions are very, very little percentages. So the biggest population practices that combination of, or should we say blend of, Shinto and Buddhism, And so I'm just telling myself, how did Africans end up celebrating this practice? Because I want to believe that Africans used to have their own holidays, because they used to have their own systems of knowing years through the moon system, naming the moons,
Following the stars.
Even birthdays, Africans didn't used to call it birthdays, People used to use moons to count cycles, And I'm asking myself, the person who invented this system must have profited a lot, because when these seasons or holidays come, a lot of products are normally sold, like the Christmas trees, these Christmas clothes, outfits, the pajamas, the socks, the decorations, and everything,
Right.
So people have their own different practices, and I'm asking myself, why, for example, let's just say, for example, why wasn't the African practices not spread across the world? Because Africans used to have their own healing systems. They used to have midwives who could help pregnant women give birth successfully. They used to cure diseases with herbal medicine. Why were those practices not spread? Because, okay, my answer would be because there exists supernatural being.
They were made to believe that their practices were evil.
That is also true, but I was going to say, because as from the story we had, where there's a god and there's a Satan somewhere, and Satan was cast down to earth, and they said Satan wanted to rule the world. How does he do that? By spreading his seeds, So, okay, my answer would be, the reason why the good things are not spreading, rather the bad things are spreading even more, is because there's another force at work and it's winning, Does it make sense? Guys, let us know.
Personally, I do believe a lot of African practices was lost, majorly because of colonialism, because when these white people came to Africa and they made Africans believe that they were superior than the Africans, and shunned everything that Africans were doing, even the medicine they were practicing, the religion they were doing, the foods they were eating, healthy foods by by the way, right? It was only natural for most of them to walk away from whatever they were doing in order for them to try and attain the quote-unquote civilization that was being pushed by the white person, you know.
Right.
But guys, let us know what you think about this episode. Also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.